Have you ever thought, or do you possibly think, that non-dualism means a quiet mind? So when you've shut up that monkey mind, and you're in silence, and you're in this space, in this void, have you ever considered, or have you ever thought, or do you think that is a non-dualistic place to be? If your conclusion is that is the definition of non-dualism, that space, then you are grossly mistaken to what non-dualism is. Let's take non-dualism from the perspective of Shaivism, because most people in the West, if they get to a place that's close to non-dualism, it might be from Vedanta, or it might be from possibly even Zen. So let's take the Shaivism route here. At the end of the day, we are describing the same thing from a slightly different perspective. Once the monkey mind, once that inner voice is quiet, that is not a non-dualistic space. That is just a space. When we, for example, in Kundalini Awakening, when we have risen the energy, and this can be said for most tantric practices, when we have risen that energy through self or through transmission, Shakti, and we connect to the divine grace, to Shiv, to Shiva, to consciousness, and we understand and we comprehend and we connect with Shiv, with consciousness, and not from an intellectual space, because it's all very well intellectually understanding the idea of, let's say you've never eaten an apple in your life and someone describes to you an apple and possibly even shows you the picture of an apple. That does not enable you to understand what it is to eat an apple, the flavor, the texture, this is what we're talking about here. So it's not about me telling you this and you saying, oh, right, okay, now I know. Now I'm non-dualistic. It doesn't work like that. I can give you the description in this video. I can take you there. I take my students there. This is the whole point of the trainings, to take you so you can taste the apple. So you can raise Shakti, connect to Shiv, make that connection, and possibly get as far as Atman, the comprehension of Nirvana. But the non-dualistic, you see these days now, non-dualistic healing, it's the next level of Kundalini activation. Yeah, most people doing that, I can tell you, they've managed to clear their heads, finally, shut it up whilst they're doing a transmission. That's it. To understand Shiv, to embrace Shiv, or Shiva, consciousness, is understanding, comprehending deep down, this deep knowing as opposed to the intellectual understanding. There is no past, there is no future. There is no now. There is no right, there is no wrong, there is no dark, there is no light. There is no physical and non-physical. There just is everything connected, all at the same time, all being one, future, past, present, space, time, physical, non-physical, black, white. This is consciousness. Not conscious reality, not the idea of a quiet mind floating within your conscious reality, which is what most people think, which is what we were talking about at the beginning of the video. But rather, consciousness itself. Universal, not as in universe, as in the definition of universal, understanding. One connected understanding. This is non-dualism. If you come across people who say they do level 2 non-dualistic healing, yeah, you'll find them. Or groups talking about non-dualism. Before you dive deep into them, you need to find out whether they comprehend this and can talk the talk from an intellectual point of view, which, let's face it, that's quite easy. Yeah, it's convincing someone you can play football because you know how to kick a ball and you know the rules of the game. I know the rules of the game, I know the names of the people, that means I am an expert soccer player. Or American football, it doesn't matter on the sport, yeah? Or skier, because I know the physics of how it all works and I just can describe it perfectly and I know every company and all that. Yeah. That is not the same as being an expert skier. Does that make it clear? So you need to talk to these people and you need to interact with these people to see whether they can show you that they can walk the walk as opposed to talking the talk. That whether what they're talking about is simply sitting with an open mind and perhaps doing a pranic energy transmission. Don't get me wrong, that can be a great, awesome experience. Because again, with this, many people say to me, oh, you're so anti this, you're so against this, you're so... It's not. These things can be awesome. The people that think they're non-dualistic, but simply they have a quiet mind, think they're working with Kundalini and just doing pranic healing, for example. There are many different situations we can talk about here. But don't get me wrong, those can be amazing experiences. I sometimes go to receive those experiences myself. They can be brilliant, they can be awesome, they can be good fun. They can help open things up. Absolutely amazing. And I highly recommend doing this if you're just beginning your journey on a path of healing, be careful because there are many caveats. I also get people that have been taken the wrong way, people not actually understanding what they're doing, problems occurring. We've all heard of Kundalini syndrome. Some of these people haven't. That's a big tell. But if they can take you to this space where they allow you to not necessarily have a quiet mind, they should be able to guide you to that, obviously, if you tell them. Because most will say, oh, that comes in practice, learn to meditate. Well, we know. Some people have tried to meditate for 20 years and they never really managed to quieten that mind. To quieten the mind takes 5 minutes. Seriously. Come to my trainings, it's one of the first things you learn. Yeah, that's a $1 million thing. I know that. But you learn how to do it in 5 minutes, and then it's a question of practice. Once you get to that state, and you can connect to the energy, whether they can take you to these ultimate states that are not part of your reality, that are timeless, spaceless, non-dualistic, as opposed to simply an empty mind. Whether they call themselves a facilitator, a guru, whatever it is, you must understand this simple truth. A quiet mind does not equal a non-dualistic state. They're very different things. If we look at it from a Vedanta point of view, then the non-dualistic state, connection to consciousness, there is no-ness, nothingness, emptiness. But with that said, that means there is no I, there is no perspective to be seeing this void from. So if you are looking at this from a perspective, seeing this void, that's a quiet mind, rather than being the void. So ultimately, we're talking about the same thing. If you've liked this video, share it with people, leave a comment. If you're interested in working this and going further, go to theawakenenergy.com. Come take a training. Let me help you get to where you want to go. If not, support the channel by hitting the subscribe button, the notification button, which will also help you see more of these videos. Hit the like button, and I will see you in another video.